Turkey Al-sheikh's comments about the pay-per-view pricing and his plans to make pay-per-view 20 quid or under in the UK and $20 or under in the US are really, really interesting. First off, Turkey Al-Sheikh, in terms of everyone who's included in the boxing world at the moment, the boxing world, who has a say, he's compared to everyone else on the planet. From a financial point of view, you would expect him to be the most out of touch when it comes to the people at the top of the game and then the fans and everything in between. But his comments of most people go to the illegal streaming option because the price is too high is absolutely correct. Now, putting a 20 quid cap or under a 20 quid ceiling on it isn't going to fix that, essentially, I know. But there will always be illegal streamers that will just stream just because they don't want to pay for anything. You know, there's a lot of illegal like I know Joe Stunner. He streams in sometimes in other ways out of principle. And he's always been so. But there are a lot of people who do it just because they're not prepared to part with the money. They don't value the product enough to pay money for it, which is odd considering a lot of people will think nothing of spending 100 quid in a pub or sticking 50 quid up their nose. So I always find that quite ironic when I go through Facebook and see people who are like, has anyone got a link to an illegal streams? And, you know, anyone can stream it for free. Now, when you go back to, I think the most expensive one we've had was Derek Chisora against Tyson Fury, which is probably one of the least worthy events worthy of a pay-per-view price, and for being the most expensive was an absolute piss take. Now, I don't blame Frank entirely for that. The fact that Tyson Fury was involved and, you know, knowing how sort of Tyson Fury operates, you suspect he was a major part in deciding that pricing for that. But so I don't think the 20 quid cap will stop people who illegally stream at the moment from illegally streaming. One of the things I think it may do is people who are, maybe thinking about the possibility of, fuck this, I'm gonna buy the stick, I'm gonna pay the 50 quid a year and stream everything for free. I think it may make some of those people think, well, do you know what I mean, 20 quid, it's worth, it's worth 20 quid to me. I always think with pay-per-view events, other than like the Fury Chisora, which was just a complete mug off, if I get a pay-per-view that's a fight that I really want to see, a fight that I value, and we've got a price of around 20 quid, I'm happy to pay for that. For an evening's entertainment, for 20 quid, I think that's quite reasonable, so I'll pay it. But when it gets to the point when you're paying nearly 30 quid for something that's really not a fight that for me that should even be sanctioned, then there's a problem. But it does say something about Turkey Al-Sheikh, and I made a video a while ago about how we should have a little bit of skepticism about Turkey, how we should not just, accept him with open arms and believe that everything he's done is within good intentions. But we can only go on what he's doing and what he's done up till this point, which you can't argue with a lot of it. And a 20 quid cap on a pay-per-view, I think what they should do, I think there's a problem with, platforms like DAZN, where if you're a subscriber, you still have to pay a 20 quid pay-per-view. But if you're not a subscriber, you can just go and pay a 20 quid pay-per-view at all. And I think on one of the pay-per-views, you've got a £1 discount. Well, you've got half that at least to make that worthy, haven't you? With DAZN now, I will rest that for a month when there's not a lot on it that I don't want to see, I'm not interested in, because I refuse to pay. I think it's now 25 quid DAZN. When you get a good month, again, comes down to value. When you get a good month of stuff and good fights, it's worth the money, it's value, it's worth its value. But when it isn't, it's not. But yeah, so going back to Turkey Al-Sheikh, the £20 cap is not going to stop illegal streaming of these fights and other events. But it may make people who were thinking of, I'm getting pissed off with paying this and getting mugged off for these events, it may halt that a little bit to the degree where people think, that's all right value for money. I don't mind paying that. I don't mind paying 20 quid or 19.99 or 15 quid. I don't mind paying that. And in terms of America, where they're paying $80, $90, that's a massive difference, isn't it? But I just thought it was quite telling that out of all the people, your Eddies, your Franks, you know, I mean, I think Matchroom is getting on for being a $1 billion company. I don't know. I'm certainly a high multi-million dollar company, but you never had Eddie Hearn come out and say, we're going to cap pay-per-views. In fact, when we got DAZN, as you all remember, it was the complete opposite. They were going to change the game and they were going to end pay-per-view forever. And then there was a run in this year, I think, where I think it was like 7 or 8 pay-per-views in the space of like 7 or 8 months. So it took the man at the end of the game who's got more money than the majority of us put together to realise the fact that this was too much. This pricing was too high. This model was not sustainable because for the people who weren't illegally streaming now, if we carry on at the rate we're going, they'll certainly become illegal streamers at some point, and that will kill any revenue we hope to make from pay-per-view. So, yeah, again, like I said, I made a video a week ago saying we should, let's just be a little bit wary of Turkey. But if we're just going on what he's done and what he's doing and what he plans to do, this cap on pay-per-view certainly seems to be positive. And like I said before, it's taken Turkey, who is the most far removed from the normal man in the street, to realise that is too much. And you're just going to drive every boxing fan out there to illegally streaming, and that will kill the pay-per-view platform completely. So that was it. I'll see you all soon. Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't done before, like and subscribe. I very rarely ask, but fuck it, I'll ask this time. If you're feeling generous, hit the subscribe button.